I answered a FaceTime call from myself. 1:43 a.m. The dim blue light from my phone screen lit the contours of my room like a washed-out painting. I was cocooned beneath my comforter, the glow bouncing softly off the white walls, the cluttered dresser, the tiny ring of condensation left by a half-finished glass of water from earlier that night. In one hand, I lazily held the remains of a protein bar, half-melted, oat chocolate goo pressing into my fingers. In the other, my phone, steadily feeding me an unbroken chain of horrors, memes, arguments, thirst traps, and global dread. Doom scrolling had become my nightly lullaby. There's something about being awake while the rest of the world sleeps. It's like stepping into a space between realities. A private little realm where no one's watching and nothing has consequences. You're invisible. Free. Ugly. Alone. I liked it that way most nights. Until that night, a sudden buzz rattled my phone against my chest, breaking the rhythm of my scrolling. I flinched, nearly dropping it. Incoming FaceTime call, no caller ID. Weird. I never get FaceTimes unless it's my sister or one of the 3 friends I actually keep in touch with. I squinted at the screen. No name. Just the gray text and the 2 options, accept or decline. I hovered over decline. But something curiosity? Boredom? Loneliness stayed my thumb. I let it ring out. A few seconds later, buzz. Same thing. Same caller. No ID. The time blinked, 1:44 a.m. now. I declined it. A beat passed. Then buzz. 3rd time. This one got under my skin. There's an unspoken rule about the 3rd call. 1 is random. 2 is persistence. 3? 3 means urgency. My thumb trembled slightly as I tapped accept. The screen went black for a moment. Then static. Thick, analog-style static like from a detuned television. Grainy white noise washed across the display in waves. Then it cleared. And I saw myself. At first, I thought it was my phone camera glitching. Maybe it had defaulted to the front-facing camera. Maybe this was just a delayed image, a mirror caught in a loop. But no, it wasn't a mirror. I was looking at me, yes. Same dark tank top. Same tangled hair falling across my shoulders. Same sheets twisted around my legs. But this me wasn't just sitting there. She was screaming. Silently. Her mouth, my mouth, was wide open, gaping, unhinged in a way that seemed anatomically impossible. It stretched like the scream had ripped something loose inside her. Her throat flexed, her chest heaved, but not a single sound escaped. Just that pure, raw panic that tore across her face like an open wound. Her eyes, my eyes, bulged, nearly white, pupils shrunken to pinpricks. She clawed at her own face, dragging her fingers down her cheeks like she was trying to peel herself off. Her nails raked across her skin, leaving red tracks in their wake. One nail bent sideways, then snapped clean off. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I whispered, barely audible, hello? And that's when she stopped. Her body went still. Her hands dropped to her lap. The scream froze in place mid-twist. The mouth stayed open for a second longer, trembling. Then, slowly, she closed her mouth. Her head turned. She looked directly into the camera. Directly at me. And she smiled. Not a happy smile. Not even a forced one. It was the kind of smile that doesn't belong to a person. It moved in strange ways, too slow, too knowing. Like something reptilian trying to mimic humanity. Like something that had just figured out the rules to a new game. My heart stuttered in my chest. Then the screen cut to black. Just gone. No call-ended sound. No notification. Nothing. Only the home screen. My face dimly reflected in the black glass. I sat there in silence, blinking at my phone as though it might explain itself. It didn't. A slow, metallic taste crept into my mouth. Blood. I'd bitten the inside of my cheek. Hard. I wiped my hand on the comforter and realized the protein bar had melted completely into my palm. Sticky. The clock read 1:46 a.m. The next 15 minutes. I didn't move. My body had gone rigid, like prey caught in a predator's gaze. I told myself it was a prank. A deepfake. Some creep using AI and a stolen photo to simulate my room. But that didn't explain the exact sheets. The same tear in the neckline of my shirt. The chipped nail polish on my thumb. It didn't explain how it had mirrored every detail perfectly. Eventually, I peeled myself out of bed and padded into the bathroom. I flipped the light on and stared at my reflection. Nothing unusual. Just me. Pale. Sleep-deprived. A light sheen of sweat on my forehead. I waved. My reflection waved back. I forced a smile. It smiled too. I waited for it to do something I didn't. It didn't. I splashed cold water on my face. 3 times. No magic number, just what felt right. My phone was still clenched in my hand. Back in my room, I turned on every light. Desk lamp, bedside lamp, the overhead bulb I usually hated because it made everything too clinical. I even opened the closet door just to check. Empty. As always. I sat back down in bed and locked my phone. Then unlocked it. Then locked it again. Eventually, I went to Reddit. Horror subs. Paranormal ones. Even tech threads. I wanted confirmation that this was a known thing. That someone somewhere had posted about FaceTiming their own screaming doppelganger at 1:43 a.m. Nothing. Not even close. I stayed up until the sun started to rise. And even then, I didn't sleep. Later that day, by noon, I convinced myself it was a nightmare. Sleep paralysis. A waking dream. Maybe I dozed off while scrolling and hallucinated the entire thing. I've had vivid dreams before. Sometimes lucid. Sometimes horrifying. And then my phone buzzed again. FaceTime, no caller ID. 1:43 p.m. I didn't answer this time, but I took a screenshot. It didn't save. The icon flashed like it had captured, but nothing was there. I tried again. Same thing. I let it ring out. No voicemail. No missed call log. Just the memory. The rule of threes. That night I stayed up again. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to know. I told myself I wouldn't answer. That I'd just watch. That I'd record it this time. And at 1:43 a.m. on the dot, it came. FaceTime, no caller ID. My thumb hovered over the screen. My chest tightened. This time, I hit record screen first. Then I answered. Static. Then, her again. But this time, she wasn't screaming. She was watching me. Sitting perfectly still. In the same room. Same position. Only this time, her eyes weren't wide. They were focused. Studying. As though she was the one waiting for me to do something. I raised my hand. Slowly. She didn't move. I waved. Nothing. Then she tilted her head. Just slightly. And mouthed something. 3 words. So faint I almost didn't catch it. But when I did, my stomach turned to ice. Let me in. I ended the call. The screen froze. But before it cut out completely, I saw her smile. And behind her, a shape. Just a flicker. A silhouette in the far corner of the room. Standing in the shadows just beyond the reach of the light. Watching her. Watching me. I didn't sleep. Not a minute. I sat upright in bed as dawn broke, staring at the outline of the closet door, half convinced it would creak open on its own. Every sound outside, distant sirens, morning birdsong, the hum of the fridge sounded distant and distorted, like it was all happening through a wall of water. I was still thinking about the thing I saw the night before. Her. Me. That smile. And the shape in the shadows behind her. When my phone buzzed with the 8 a.m. alarm, I nearly jumped out of my skin. My nerves were stretched like old piano wire, ready to snap at the slightest tug. I called in sick. Didn't even fake a cough. Just said I wasn't feeling well and hung up before my manager could ask follow-up questions. I'm not sure what I would have said if she had. Sorry, can't come in. I FaceTimed a sentient doppelganger at 1:43 a.m. and now I'm afraid to open doors? Instead, I spent the day Googling. FaceTime deepfake hacks. Can someone spoof a live camera feed? Shadowy figure behind me in video call meaning. Digital haunting? Am I going insane? Each search brought up a slurry of forums, conspiracy threads, Reddit horror stories, and a handful of tech blogs that told me nothing useful. Most people had no idea what I was talking about. A few posts on obscure subreddits came close, people describing weird glitches during video calls, strangers showing up mid-transmission, but none of them mentioned a copy of themselves on the other end. Certainly none as exact as mine. Nothing about the timing either. 1:43 a.m. Same minute 2 nights in a row. It wasn't random. I knew that now. Still, as the sun dipped lower and shadows lengthened across my apartment, I began convincing myself it was a one-time breakdown. A stress response, maybe? I'd been under pressure lately. Work, isolation, too much time online. My brain had probably pulled some cruel magic trick on me, mixing reality and nightmare into something I couldn't quite parse. That is, until the next night. 1:42 a.m. The minutes leading up to it were the worst. My phone sat on my nightstand, black and silent. I tried not to look at it, but of course I did. Every 10 seconds. Like watching a bomb about to go off. I had every light in the apartment on. I'd moved all the mirrors out of the bedroom. Even closed the laptop. No screens except my phone, which I seriously debated throwing in the garbage. But I didn't. Because curiosity is a hell of a drug. And I needed to know. 1:43 a.m. Right on cue, FaceTime, no caller ID. The screen lit up like a pulse of lightning in the dark. I stared, froze. Then I picked it up. This time, I hesitated with my finger hovering over except for almost a full minute. What if it's not just a glitch? What if it's not a prank? What if whatever this is wants me to keep answering? But I tapped it anyway, because I had to see. At first, the screen remained black. No static, no loading circle, just empty. Then it flickered, and I saw her again. Another version of me, but not the same one. This one was worse. She was slumped in the dark, barely upright, like her spine had lost the ability to support her. Her head hung slightly forward, shadow cast over her eyes, strands of hair clinging to sweat-slicked skin. She was bleeding. Dark bruises bloomed along her arms and collarbone. One eye swollen shut, the lid an angry purple red. Her lips were cracked, peeling, and smeared with dried blood. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. The only light came from a broken TV screen beside her, flashing blue and white static that flickered across her face in slow, sick pulses. And then she moved. She raised a trembling hand and held something up to the camera. A scrap of paper, torn at the edges. The handwriting was messy, scrawled like it had been written in a panic. It read, "Don't answer again." She held it with both hands now, and it was shaking. The paper fluttered like a leaf in a storm. Her mouth began moving. Slowly, repeating something over and over. I turned the volume all the way up. No sound. I read her lips. "Don't answer. Again. Don't answer. Again. Don't answer. Again." She looked desperate. Her one good eye glassy, pleading. Her shoulders shook with silent sobs. It was like watching myself trapped in an invisible prison, helpless, broken, trying to warn me of something I couldn't understand. And then, something moved behind her. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, just the TV flicker casting weird shadows. But then it stepped forward. From the far edge of the screen, out of the dark, a tall, impossible figure emerged. It moved with unnatural stillness, like it was sliding more than walking. Its shape was indistinct, fluid around the edges. Like oil in water. Like it didn't belong in this reality. My other self didn't react. She didn't turn, didn't scream, just kept mouthing the same words over and over again, even as the thing stood directly behind her. Then it did something that made my stomach flip inside out. It looked at me, not at her. It turned toward the camera, toward me, and even though it had no face, I could feel its attention. Like pressure in the skull. Like heat behind my eyes. I don't know how long I stared. Could have been 5 seconds. Could have been an hour. Then the screen glitched. A flicker. And it was gone. Just black. My own reflection staring back at me in the glossy glass, pale and shaking. The call had ended. I didn't cry. I wanted to. My body begged for it. But I couldn't. I was too far beyond fear now. This wasn't normal fear. This was something colder. Older. I tried to replay the screen recording. There was none. The file was corrupted. Playback unavailable. Just static. Digital rot. I deleted it. Then deleted the FaceTime app entirely. Useless gesture, I know. But I needed to do something. I sat on the edge of my bed, clutching the phone like it was a live grenade. My thoughts spiraled. Who or what was sending me these calls? Why me? And what would happen if I stopped answering? But the better question was this. What happens if I don't? Because something told me the calls weren't going to stop. I didn't answer the next night. I didn't even stay in my bedroom. By midnight, I was sitting on the cold tile floor of the bathroom, back against the tub, the lights off, door cracked just enough to hear the apartment breathe. My phone was there too, swaddled under a folded towel, screen face down like a corpse tucked into a morgue drawer. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want it to see me. I told myself this would break the pattern. That ignoring the call would make it stop. Part of me knew that wasn't true. Still, I had to try. So I sat in silence. Minutes dragged like hours. I could hear the refrigerator humming through the walls, the pipes settling in the ceiling, the occasional creak of floorboards shifting from phantom weight. When the digital clock on the counter hit 1:43 a.m., I held my breath. For a second, there was nothing. Then the towel buzzed. A soft, muffled vibration. Subtle, but insistent. My heart dropped into my stomach like a stone. I didn't move. It buzzed again. And again. I reached forward, hesitantly peeled the towel back. The phone was on. But that wasn't right. I had turned it off. Not airplane mode. Not silent. Fully powered down. I'd held the button and watched the screen go black. I'd done it twice, just to be sure. Now it sat there, fully booted, the FaceTime screen glowing in the darkness. Incoming call, no caller ID. Battery, 100%. No charging cable. It was 1:43 a.m. On the dot. My hands trembled. I didn't touch the phone, didn't swipe, just stared, willing it to stop. Eventually, it did. The screen dimmed. For a moment, I let myself exhale. And that's when the doorbell rang. The sound sliced through the silence like a scalpel. I froze. One long ding-dong just once. Not hurried, not repeated. Like someone was waiting. The doorbell almost never rings. I live alone. I don't order delivery past midnight. My neighbors don't talk to me. And no one comes to visit. Certainly not at 1:44 in the morning. I crept out of the bathroom like a ghost, my feet silent on the floor. The hallway felt longer than usual, stretched somehow, like the apartment had warped while I wasn't looking. I didn't go to the door, didn't ask who it was, just stood frozen near the kitchen, peeking around the edge of the wall where I had a partial view of the front door. No movement, no shadows, just silence now. It didn't ring again. It didn't need to, because I could feel whoever or whatever was on the other side. Waiting, breathing, listening. I didn't go back to the bathroom. I didn't go back to bed. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table with a butcher knife in one hand and a pair of old scissors in the other. Not because I thought they'd help, but because it felt better than being empty-handed. My laptop was open in front of me, casting a pale light across the room. I had no idea what to do with it. I wasn't Googling anymore. I'd gone past questions. Now I was just watching the time, like it meant something. Every second felt like a countdown. From what I didn't know, the knife trembled in my grip. I set it down, then picked it up again. The scissors I kept closed, clutched like tongs ready to snap. It was the illusion of control, the pathetic armor of a prey animal trying to look dangerous. I thought about calling someone, my sister, a friend, the police, but what would I say? Hey, someone keeps FaceTiming me using a haunted version of myself from another timeline. And now my phone turns itself on and strangers ring my doorbell at night? I wouldn't believe me either. So I just sat there, staring, listening, and somewhere, deep down, I started to realize this wasn't about the calls anymore. This thing, whatever it was testing boundaries. And now that I hadn't answered, it had come to find me. 3 nights, 3 calls, 3 versions of me. By now, the pattern was burned into my bones. I thought I could beat it. After the last call, the bloody me, the warning, the thing that rang the doorbell, I tried everything I could think of. I deleted FaceTime. I blocked unknown numbers. I turned the phone off and shoved it in the freezer, like some desperate parody of digital ghost prevention. It felt stupid, even while I was doing it. But I did it anyway. The night passed. No call came. No 1:43 a.m. buzzing. No video. No static. Just quiet. For a few hours, I let myself believe I'd won. The next day, my girlfriend called me. Zoom, not FaceTime. It was a surprise. She usually texts first, but I didn't care. I needed to hear someone's voice. Something normal. Something human. I hadn't told her everything. Just enough to explain the bags under my eyes, the paranoia in my voice, the fact that I hadn't left the apartment in 2 days. She looked like herself. Same cozy hoodie, same lazy smile, same mug of tea always just out of frame. We talked about nothing. Her work, my mystery illness, the weather like it mattered, and then she froze, mid-sentence. Mouth still open, eyes still blinking, but everything slowed. Her face distorted for a split second, pixels stretching like taffy, like reality was buffering. And in that heartbeat of glitch, I saw it. The smile, my smile, but not mine. Too wide, too slow, too knowing. It curled across her face like melting wax, lifting her cheekbones into an expression I'd never seen on her. Not in 3 years together. It was my expression, not the smile I wear in photos or around friends. The one from the call, from the first night, the scream smile, the predator's grin. And just as quickly, it was gone. Her screen unfroze like nothing had happened. She kept talking, some joke about oatmeal or traffic, and I didn't respond. I must have gone pale, because she asked, "What's wrong?" I told her she lagged. Just a glitch. She nodded. Yeah, probably you. Your Wi-Fi's always crap. She didn't remember anything. But since then, she's been off. Not wrong enough to confront. Just enough to unsettle. Little things. Pauses where she didn't used to pause. Words out of rhythm like she was choosing them from a list. Smiles that lingered a beat too long. Sometimes, she stares at the wall just behind my head like there's something standing there. She laughs at things I didn't say. Says things I don't think she understands. And last night, just before she hung up, face calm, voice light like it always was, she looked directly into the camera and asked, "Why haven't you been answering your phone at 1:43? I didn't respond. I ended the call. Immediately. My hands were shaking so badly, I nearly dropped the laptop. I closed it and shoved it under the couch. Like that would help? Like any of this made sense anymore. She hadn't asked like a girlfriend. She'd asked like she already knew the answer. Like something else was speaking through her. And the worst part? I still haven't told her about the time. She never knew it was 1:43. Not unless something or someone told her. Which means this thing, this presence, has found a new way in. It's not just the phone anymore. It's using people. It's using her. And now I'm not sure who I'm really talking to when her face appears on my screen. I've started sleeping during the day. What little sleep I get anyway. I can't risk dreaming at night anymore. The dark hours feel like they belong to something else now. Something watching, listening, waiting. I left my apartment behind 2 days ago. Didn't tell anyone. Packed a single duffel bag, walked away without locking the door. Let it keep whatever it wanted. I don't care anymore. I moved in with my brother. He doesn't ask questions he's used to me disappearing, flaking out, self-isolating. To him, this looks like just another crash. Fine. Let him think that. It's safer that way. I threw the phone away. Literally into a storm drain 2 miles from home. Watched it vanish into the black water like a cursed object returning to the deep. I bought a burner phone. Cash only. No name. No apps. No cloud. No ties to me. No FaceTime. No way back. Or so I thought. 1:43 a.m. Even in someone else's house, even with new walls and unfamiliar furniture, I woke up. Not from a nightmare. From a feeling. Like the air itself had changed density. Like the room was suddenly occupied. I checked the burner. No texts. No apps. But the screen was lit. Incoming call. Not FaceTime. Just a regular call. No number. No area code. Just a single name in all caps like a mirror held up too long. Me. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor with a flat, final sound. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just stared as it rang. And rang. And rang. I don't think the calls are trying to show me something anymore. I don't think this is about messages or signs or even fear. I think they're trying to get in. Through the screen. Through the voice. Through whatever thin boundary separates us from them. They used my face. They used my voice. Then they started using the people around me. I don't think my girlfriend is my girlfriend anymore. Not fully. She still calls. Still texts. But her eyes don't blink quite right. Her voice is missing the little imperfections I used to love. And sometimes she laughs at jokes I haven't told. Like she's waiting for me to catch up to something she already knows. I think I'm the last one pretending this is still real. If you're reading this, if someone sent this to you, or you found it while scrolling late at night, listen carefully. If you've ever answered a video call from an unknown number, around 1:43 a.m., even once, I'm sorry, truly, because you'll understand soon. Maybe not tonight, maybe not this week, but when the call comes again and you'll remember this. You'll remember that smile. Too wide, too slow, too you. And by then, it might already be too late to stop what's coming through. All you can do now is not answer. Whatever you do, don't answer.